work too many hours, I'm emotionally beat, I'm physically beat, I'm spiritually bankrupt, by all these situations, you move into survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, by default, you have to be in a preservation concept. Right? It's ever been really cold? And you get to the point where you're shaking. You ever gone past shaking? Right? That's when you're beginning to die. Right? Because your body's shaking. Am I right? Fireman joke, okay? It's all Ramsey fireman joke. But when we get so cold that we stop shaking, that's when your body has stopped fighting the cold. And what happens is you reach a complete threshold where now you're at risk. So I talked about this in the training a while back about 80% thresholds. Everybody has a different 80% threshold. Would you agree?
Yeah.
There's different tipping points for when I'm tired. Right? If you're Jeff Hoover, you live on about 4.5 hours of sleep. I don't know anybody goes to bed later and gets up earlier than this guy right here. And yet doesn't have to. Right? He just does. He stays in my house quite a bit, right? We spend a lot of time together. And he usually goes down after I do, and then he's up way before I am. Now, I sleep till noon. I just love the cool side of the pillow. You know what I'm saying? Some guys are like, no, I like the mornings. Well, that's awesome. I do too. Laying in my bed, right? I love the mornings. They're fantastic, okay? But everybody has different capacity of what they can do. Some people have different capacity for what they can learn. Some people have different capacity for what makes them mad. Some people have different capacity that makes them cry. Some people have different capacity for raising kids in certain ways, right? Would you agree? Mm-hmm. So what I try to do is introduce people to what is your known capacity and how can we increase it? Because if your tipping point for breaking is down here, you're never going to have breakthrough. The only way you're going to have breakthrough is you got to learn how to increase your capacity. You got to learn how to expand yourself. You got to learn how to stretch yourself. You got to learn how to go stronger, go larger, go harder. If I talk to Jack, and Jack's working on a training program for us, the constant thing he's going to do is he's going to find out where my max is, and then he's going to take me through a program so when I go back to my max, it's higher, right? Mm-hmm. And the idea of a max out program is you go light, go high rep, and then you go through this whole program. I don't really know how to do it. I'm just kind of pretending I do. But then Jack would put me through a whole protocol so my max was more. Right? So we do it with weights. We do it with swimming in the water. You see athletes doing that with rehab. You see people doing it on treadmills, and they're learning how to maybe go through stroke things or whatever the case might be. You follow me in this? Yeah. So it's the same thing with increasing your capacity for serving people, your capacity for grace, your capacity for patience, your capacity for impact, your capacity for what you can consume. And I don't mean food. I'm talking about intel, right? Like what we call recruiting soldiers. Right? Recruiting soldiers is when you read a book, you consume the heart, the soul, the mind of the author. And when you read that book and you consume it, all of a sudden, I'm a Highlander. I got that guy's strength. Right? I've just consumed his or her wisdom and his insights. And now that's part of my story. I can say,